What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. It's Thursday, March 10th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What's up, man? You know those sock caps that we have on like the opening when we're at Oaklawn?
Yeah.
Heather found those. I forgot we had them. She found them. They were like in the depths of the closet. We found them.
You still have them?
They're still in my possession. Wow. I did not think I had them, but they are. Both of them.
Those should go in like the Racing Hall of Fame, I think. I mean, I feel like that's where they belong.
They called me and I said, I don't think I have them anymore. So I've got to call them back because they do belong in some kind of Hall of Fame.
History. That was long before the racing dudes were. We were the dudes, but we were small time back then. So
yes,
covering. Guess what was it? It had been cold. It was probably like Southwest or something. Freezing our asses off.
I think it was
Smarty Jones.
Yeah, one of the two. Yeah, and the famous Roxanne Turner was holding the camera. So,
shout out to Roxanne. Haven't seen her in a while.
That's that song, Roxanne. That was about her.
Roxanne. All right. Yes. What's up, man? That one. What's up? We survived a Derby prep weekend like no other last week. We are back for more for the Tampa Bay Derby. Just won this weekend, but let's go over a few of those real quickly. Obviously, we'll start kind of worst, or at least exciting to the top. We'll go with the Gotham, which was kind of going into it was kind of thought to be the least kind of probable as far as determining a type of real legit Derby contender. Morello. He dominated, and we kind of talked about it last week where on paper he kind of seemed like he should, and he did. And so what do you he's got 50 points. He's into the Derby now. He continues to win no matter, I can shit on the Gotham all day long, but he continues to win races. So first of all, I mean, we know the performance was impressive, but how serious are you taking this horse?
I mean, as serious as you can take a Gotham winner. That's for darn sure. I don't know. I think I'm still a little skeptical about how well he runs when he stretches out, but he certainly has a pedigree that suggests that he's going to be just fine. And it's more of we're going to go into the wood, and Mo Donegal's going to be there, and early voting's going to be there, and can we beat him like we've been beating these other horses is the question. I wouldn't bet him right now for sure, but if he does that same thing in the wood, I think you're looking at a serious horse. I don't know. I just can't find much wrong with him. Like, I don't know what else he could really do. They've asked it, or he's done everything they've asked him. They haven't asked him to go long yet. They haven't asked him to face real good horses yet, but he's done really, really well so far. I like him a lot more than I thought I would coming out of that race.
I mean, he definitely he makes you the most excited that you can be for a Gotham winner, like you said. I mean, I think he's 10-1 on the Derby future wager, at least the open in the morning line, which is insane. Like if you bet that horse at 10-1, you got to remember that's the thing. Like if he goes and runs well in the wood, then I'll definitely change my tune. But it's not really necessarily about him. It's not fair. Because I think this horse in history has kind of shown like maybe they don't do quite well in the Derby, but you can win the Gotham and win the Travers, or you can, you know what I mean? Like you can go and have a great year as a 3-year-old. So maybe, and obviously that's a thing that the owners want to do with Morello, with the Travers being that they're from Saratoga. So I just don't trust what I've seen in the history of the Gotham as it moves forward to the Derby. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, the whole he hasn't done anything wrong. But I don't know, Secretariat's the only horse ever to win the Derby and the Gotham, and I get it's different now, and we've seen maybe a little bit more classy horses running in the Gotham or running that Aqueduct series. But I just, until proven otherwise, I just can't take him seriously yet.
I think the biggest race is the one upcoming, right? I mean, if the Gotham was 1 1/8 and he would have won like that, I think I would be a little more excited. But
right,
I think this horse could be really, really good. Now, again, at 10-1 to win the Derby, that's out of your mind if you're doing that. Just don't do that. But I just feel like, honestly, and I hate to say this because I really like Simplification, I would take him over Simplification. I really would. I like his running style. I like his connections. Pedigree's there. I don't hate this horse. And usually every Gotham winner, immediately after the race, I just like, who cares, right? But
right.
I'm telling you, I don't think he's too bad. He ran better than I thought he would in that race.
All right, let's go to the Simplification. You mentioned in the Fountain of Youth, of course, it was kind of like the headline race of the weekend in terms of Derby preps, and you had Simplification, who kind of at the very last second kind of became the favorite, but you had Emmanuel, of course, going into this race as well, that had a ton of hype, who was the favorite really until they got into the gate. So Emmanuel, let's talk first about Simplification. He's done nothing. He's done very little wrong, especially as of late. He looked really, really good here, but I'm not gonna lie. You're kind of waiting for the plug to be pulled on this horse, and it just he continues to roll. But I'm with you. Like, I still don't trust him in the Derby.
He has me more confused than any other horse on the trail, because the horse has the ability to win gate to wire. Awesome. That's what we want. The horse has been not even close to being gate to wire the last 2 races. Last time it's hard for a horse with that much speed to get into that kind of trouble 2 races in a row. I love him, and for like what he's done, is like, damn, this is a gritty horse. This horse is tough. Despite poor trips, he won. He closed going 1.16 at Gulfstream. I mean, all kinds of just great things. But also, it's like, dude, if you don't get out of the gate in a 20-horse field, you don't have a chance. And it's not like your figures are off the wall either. Like, it's not like he ran a 108 buyer and it's like, okay, well, even though he has trouble, he's really fast. It's like, yeah, 96, solid, same as Morello. I'm scared about his running style. I feel like he's going to take money too, because he's going to be competitive in the Florida Derby next out. I think he runs 1 or 2 in that race. I don't know what to make of him as far as a Kentucky Derby horse, though. I'm very much on the fence with him. And like I said, he's got me confused. And he's the type that can really make you mad, because if he struggles out of the gate again and then all of a sudden he gets to Kentucky and he makes that first turn and he's out there near the lead, you're like, oh boy, because he has the ability to sit the trip and he hasn't done it. And that's what's weird about this horse.
Yeah, he's he wins to start the season, like that gate to wire, and you think, oh well, that's kind of fluky. We bet him the next time, we pick him to win in the Holy Bull. He misses the break. We thought, oh well, that's great. And then he runs a huge race, and gets second to White Barrio, and you think, oh my gosh, this horse, okay, he's very versatile now. And then, like you say, he does what he does in the Fountain Youth and comes way out of it and mows them all down. And I'm with you. You don't know. You can't rely on that in the Derby. And I don't know what happened if they just decided. It's one of those things, like, are they just deciding, like, hey, like we found out he can sit off if he does that, and he got a lot of speed signed up, so we're just going to do it. But you find yourself getting into trouble if you continue to do that. But to me, the other key thing for me is like, do I trust that Antonio Sano can get this horse to peak in the Derby? He kind of feels like a horse that's just like banging up good races here at the Florida circuit, but I just don't necessarily trust it as we get into larger fields and tougher competition and you know, a little bit more stacked against them. Like, I don't know. I just don't fully trust it.
Well, and I think another big thing with him is the big test of the Florida Derby gives us that last kind of data point, right? And like, if he gets the same trip again for the third straight time, what exactly is going to happen where he can turn the tables on White Barrio, you know? And so if he loses that, it's like, yeah, well, I don't love White Barrio for the Derby and he can't beat him again. I mean, the only way I think he turns the tables on White Barrio is he's closer to him early. I just don't understand like how this horse is. I mean, and we're not talking like, well, he just fell on a paceless race. Like he's speedy. Like he can get to the front and really go. And like I said, what happened to Holy Bull, you're like, well, it happens. That happens sometimes. It's shitty luck. What happened again? And I remember watching live and Samich was like, oh my God, he sucks again out of the gate. I'm like, geez, this horse. And I wrote him off. And then of course he ran a fantastic race. I want to reiterate, I like him. I have a lot of respect for him, but I just, as a Derby contender, I'm very much on the fence with him at this point.
He definitely is, you know, he's definitely on the top of the list of horses that could piss you off, like you said.
Oh, big time.
Especially if he runs well in the Florida Derby, which we expect, you know, he would. And so he's going to go into Kentucky with, you know, to be 8-1, 5-1, just to, you know, and you're going to have, he's going to take money, and do you want to play him? And he could really burn you. So yeah, speaking of the other horse in the race that burned money, Emmanuel, of course, we both thought he would dominate this race. And I mean, you've heard it both sides really. One, you know, they're disappointed, or wow, he got a lot out of that race. Like, I'm not down on him too much. Like, he went wide, he missed a break, he got squeezed, he was 7 wide the whole way around. He just got tired. First time against, you know, this kind of caliber, of course, first time stretching out. So where are you at with Emmanuel? Obviously, the next race, wherever that might be, now that Charge It is pointing to the Florida Derby, and we don't know where Emmanuel is going to point. Where are you at with him?
I'm not. It's kind of a blend of both. I'm not off of him. I think he did, like, for trying stakes for the first time, jump up in class for the first time, literally everything went wrong. Like, it just was not good.
Yeah.
It was just not how you wanted to draw it up. However, some of it was his own fault. All right. Like, he did get pinched out of the gate, or a couple strides after the gate. He did kind of get shuffled back. You see that sometimes, but then a good horse will kind of get himself back in the game a little bit. He didn't really show that quality. He just kind of stood and stayed where he fell, and that caused him to go wide. And then kind of what happened is they made the decision, or Saez made the decision of, well, I want him wide instead of inside and taking dirt. And, you know, I see why he kind of faded in the stretch. He did run a long ways, but some of his problems were kind of created by himself. So he's got to be better the next race. I think he will be better. I think getting away from Gulfstream will probably help him. You know, if they take him to Oaklawn or the Bluegrass, you know, might catch a field there that's not quite as tough. But I think the bubble burst with him as far as, can he win the Derby? Now, can he win next out? We'll see what the field looks like and kind of how he's doing. But is he good enough to win the Derby? It's a resounding no after that.
I agree. And I'm, you know, I've since stepped down as chairman and CEO of the fan club of Emmanuel, because I think that was the biggest thing we learned. Like, can he win? Can he win next out? Sure, I think he can.
He can.
But going into that race, you, myself, many of us kind of thought like he might be really, really good. Like, he might be top Derby prospect good. You know, like, I think he is. And so that was, to me, was the biggest burst of the race, was realizing that, okay, maybe he's not. And I'm with you. Like, he did get into trouble and he had a bad trip, but how much of that was on his own? You know, how much was the being slow out of the gate and just being generally slow early in the race to where the horse kind of had no choice but to be wide and not take dirt. And to me, yeah, going longer might help a little bit in terms of the fast pace, but you're still going to have to be better, especially early on. Because he did make a run. He just made a long, sustained run and just got tired.
That's the last thing I was going to say about it. The encouraging part is the horse knew what to do. He was behind. He was wide. He made a run on the turn. He got all the way up into the lead. They turned for home. I think he was in front. He was in front at one point.
Yeah.
And he just didn't have that other gear. And like you said, you could debate on, well, he was wide. He probably shouldn't have. And that's probably true. But, I guess the last thing is I would still be more on his bandwagon if he got second. And I know people go, well, he was tired. And these other horses, yeah, but shit. I mean, he just didn't finish with much at all. So I don't know. I feel like I'm really on the fence. He's going to present a problem in the next race as far as how you handicap it. And it's just going to depend on the field. I don't see a situation if he would have stayed in Florida where he could win that race. And I think that's why they're kind of going to give him a shot somewhere else. But, slower pace, going a mile and an eighth, say he doesn't draw outside, say he can sit 2-3 wide, and he faces a little bit weaker horses, I think he's going to be right there with a chance. I wouldn't give up on him, but it was disappointing.
Yeah, and even I think honestly, if in due time, who maybe should have been disqualified. Of course, his riders is suspended for the ride, but the horse stayed up. Anyways, the horse gets second. He got the dream trip of the whole race, and he ran dramatically less, distance than Emmanuel. So even if he passed Emmanuel late and Emmanuel got third, I think the biggest key was that huge price, Captain, or whatever the hell the horse was, to beat him too. That was the worst. Because if there was a second where you're like, he's gonna lose, but he'll get second, and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna get third. And nope, he got fourth, and he just kind of kept fading. And so that was probably the most. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yes, he was tired, but come on. I mean, we're talking about fourth place in the Fountain of Youth.
If he would have gotten second, you probably would have been not you, but us in general, I should say, not just you single it out, but we probably would have been like, Sias cost him the race, right? This idiot cost him the race. But yeah, I mean, I'm really you just don't have that any kind of punch late. It's like, yeah, it probably wasn't good enough anyway. So, but listen, I do think he'll get a better trip next time. I don't know how you get a worse one, really, unless you get stopped. So we'll be able to judge him. Well, I think he can make the Derby. He can hit listen, he almost hit the board in this race. He could definitely hit the board in a race like the Arkansas Derby with what we know is heading there. So wouldn't give up on him, but if you're holding a Derby future wager on him, probably in some trouble.
Yeah, that really you could talk about the whole Pletcher team over the last couple of weeks, where it just feels like if you thought Pletcher was going to win this thing, you feel pretty good about it. It was more of a question of, did you have the right one? And now I don't know. I mean, you're hoping to get in. I mean, Mo Donegal all of a sudden is your best horse. We'll see what Charge It can do, but shit, man, it's falling hard.
Yeah, the Charge It situation's interesting, going right from a maiden special weight to the Florida Derby. That's going to be tough. But yeah, I mean, he's interesting. He could maybe get there. I'm with you. Mo Donegal's the one right now. And, I think he does gain a little bit even from not running, because he was right there with Simplification in the Holy Bull, and Simplification goes back and wins, like we were saying, the Fountain of Youth. So Mo Donegal gains a little respect out of this. And, he's going to the Wood next, a race he could win. So you're probably feeling decent about him going into the Derby. I don't know about the rest of these. It's going to be really interesting. But listen, Pletcher is kind of the king of getting horses to the Derby. So wouldn't count him out. He's going to be loaded for these last set of races, and we'll just see how it falls.
100 40, 2010, 140, 2010 for your, those big final preps. And so you've got horses like, Mo Donegal really doesn't need to do much. Even Command Performance, who runs this weekend in a main special weight at Tampa Bay. If he goes, the plan is to do that and then go to a Derby prep. If he finishes, he's already got points. He's on the leaderboard. Finishes third. Same with Emmanuel. Finished third. I mean, all those, it's really going to take 25 points probably to get in, at least. I mean, at the worst. And so,
right.
To me, all those, like to your point, yeah, he doesn't have any in, but we also could be sitting here in a month. Well, yeah, a month, I guess, saying he's got 3 in. He's got 4 in, Say Charge It runs well. So he is an expert at getting these horses in. What they do, but all of a sudden it went from being like, how many of these can he win, or can win, to it might be another situation where last year, where you're like, he's got runners, but I don't really feel good about him, and that's might be how we're heading into it.
That's almost every year with him.
I know.
I mean, he has a horrible Derby, record, and that gets held against him a lot. But the reason why he has a horrible Derby record is he gets horses there that don't really belong. And when he shows up with one that can win it, they usually do. So that's just kind of how the game is sometimes. He does a great job of getting these shitty horses to the Derby.
And finally, let's go to maybe the flashiest performance of the day, and that was Forbidden Kingdom in the San Felipe. This horse was awesome, gate to wire. Really, there was no excitement in here in general. Like, we kind of we thought he'd go to the lead. We thought he would wire the field. He did. He stretched out, no problem. Doppelganger did all he could do, all things considered. A distant second. Forbidden Kingdom, how serious are you taking him? I mean, you have to take him serious after that performance, but we've seen this kind of performance before for horses that maybe you're like, maybe they're sprinters, maybe they're turf horses, and then they go out and have no other horse to challenge them. The horse wires, the field can go. And you said it perfectly last week. You said this is the kind of race, a mile 16th with no other speed at Santa Anita, that a horse like this can wire. And so moving forward, how serious do you take him?
I mean, you laid it out. That's why I picked him. I just thought, they can't really pressure him. I mean, what we learned is if you don't pressure a speed horse going 2 turns, they can carry their speed, right? Like, it's not a matter of going fast. It's a matter of getting pressure on the horse. I think that's a big thing, because I saw some people go, wow, he went really fast and he kept going. Yeah, he's also like 6 ahead of everybody else. He was in his own race, and that's great.
He probably didn't even know he ran a race. He just was out there cruising along.
He probably never even heard any of the horses behind him. So, listen, I think you said it good. It was a flashy performance. You got to take him serious. He got a 98 buyer for the effort. That's obviously solid. It was the best one of the weekend, but he's one that, give me a race where there's another speed horse. Let me see if he clears them or if he gets pressured and what happens, right? Like, if the Kentucky Derby sets up like the San Felipe did, he'll probably win it, but I don't think there's a good chance of that happening. No. And we kind of talked about that characteristic with Epicenter a little bit, right? Like, there was a lot of speed in that last race, and Epicenter just went out and got in front, and all the horses were like, yeah, okay, no, not doing that. Go ahead and take it. Can Forbidden Kingdom do something like that? So that's kind of the key. We didn't learn much other than, hey, a really good horse left alone in the lead, you're not gonna catch him. We also learned Doppelganger sucks dick. Like, he's not any good. I'm sorry. Like, on the live show, we were like, oh, you don't feel too bad about it. I mean, you watch that race again, he's kind of slow, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, he's certainly not what we thought he was,
No.
Early on in the year. And of course, you wonder what they're going to do with him. Obviously, you got Messier, who's going to be pointing to the Santa Anita Derby. Of course, he can't run in the Kentucky Derby as of now. That is Bob Baffert. You had Taba, who was on the undercard of that race that day, or undercard of the San Felipe that day, who was incredible, a gun runner, 3-year-old for Baffert, had kind of shades of Justify, so to speak, kind of making that flashy debut. Of course, the question is in the air, although there was a great quote out of John White's article this week when I think it was Siegel, he quoted, they basically asked Baffert this, like, hey, do we need to take off Messier? Do we need to stop ranking this horse? And he's like, no. Mm-hmm. Now, what that means, is he just bullshit? You know, is he just full shit? Is he just being like cocky that, hey, I've got the best horse? I don't know. But he sounds confident that you need to be continuing to think about Messier for the Kentucky Derby. I don't know what that means, but I thought that was somewhat telling.
It was an interesting comment. If you watch the Derby top 10 video Magic and I did, I said, I got to take Messier off this list eventually. Like, I got to live in that reality that he's not going to be there. And then you see that in the John White article, and it's like, well, I don't know, you know. So I'm not going to take him off until it's official. You mentioned
you might be keeping him. You might be keeping him until like the draw, dude.
I know it's crazy. You mentioned Taba. Without any doubt, that was the best horse on that card. I've never seen one walk back to the winner's circle like he did. He looked like he was ready for
fall apart.
So my only Justify Charlatan, when they won like that, they didn't act like that after the race, obviously. So my only concern with Taba, you know, maybe he needs more time. Maybe he's not going to make an impact on the Triple Crown. Maybe, you know, they have to give him 60 days before he runs again, something like that. That's my only, I don't know any of that for fact. That's just my only concern. But if they can hold him together, he's awfully good. That was in that burst. You go back and watch that maiden. That's what you're looking for. So a horse that can just beat the hell out of them and break their hearts. We just haven't seen a lot of that with this crop. We've seen a lot of good horses, but not that bam burst. So Taba looked really, really good, but I don't know. To me, that was pretty telling. If you haven't seen the video, he was pretty gassed after that race. So we'll see what happens with him, but he was impressive.
Taba got a 103 for that effort. Of course, that matches the top buyer, Messier. Top buyer for a 3-year-old this year. And I mean, he showed it. It was incredible. Sub 110. Mm-hmm. And the horse was absolutely flying. It's bred to go long. I'm with you. I mean, Baffert was asked about that a couple times, and you never know. He's full of shit, obviously, or just hiding something. Or he's like, oh, Johnny V thought he felt something was off, so he's fine. We don't have a vet report or whatever. But you're just like, yeah, but this horse didn't debut till now, and there's obviously been some issues that we don't know about. So, but Justify had major issues, and look what he was able to do to cover that up. So you never know. You never know what he can do. If this horse shows back up, let's just put it this way: if this horse shows back up in wherever, he's legit. You've got to take him serious. This is a serious horse.
I think the best news for Taba fans, which would be his fantasy owner and his regular owners. I don't know if anybody else is rooting for this Baffert horse to be great.
Yeah, exactly.
but anyway, for Taba,
I'm a huge Baffert fan now.
Like you said, he is bred to go long, and a lot of times those horses with distant pedigrees, when they win sprinting, they don't really want to do that. He may have not want to win that fast early. And so you stretch him out, he can kind of relax, and you really see, that was the thing with Justify. You really saw how good he was in that second race where he was doing what he wanted to do as opposed to what they asked him to do. And man, he's like, oh, this is the horse, right? So Taba should improve going long. Like I said, he'll be 1-9 in an allowance is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And that's, if you go, go watch my live reaction to the race, but on our YouTube channel. But that's the thing. You just don't know, considering where we're at. If this was a normal year, you would say, gosh, can you get him to the Cincinnati Derby somehow and then get him into the Kentucky Derby or whatever it is. But this year, being that he can't get into the Kentucky Derby, and even if he could, he's certainly not going to get a horse like Taba in there, who's everything would have to go right. So it's what's the plan? Is it to run an allowance on, Cincinnati Derby day and then go to the Preakness? Is he going to have 20 horses in the Preakness? 14? How many is he going to get in there? Is that the plan? Is the Preakness the new Derby for him? We just don't know any of these answers. So you kind of wonder, or is there even a rush if you're him? Well, I'm not going to rush this horse because I can't get him to the Derby. It's literally cannot get the horse in the Derby. So I don't know.
Like a horse like Doppelganger's won too, and the freaking idiot that ran at Oaklawn, can't even think of that mule's name now.
Newgrange.
But it's like, yeah, those horses would be in the Derby, and he'd still be pushing on them a little bit to get him there. Now it's like, yeah, like to me, it's like I'm not gonna mess with one unless it's at this point Messier. I mean, Tava's too late, I think, for the Derby anyway. Even in a normal year, that would be some kind of magic trick. Not to say he couldn't pull that off, but that'd be tough.
I mean, even Justify, he debuted in February. His allowance was March, and then of course he went on Sancina Derby. And then to that point, that's why I think a lot of people say, "Well, just put Tava right to the Sancina Derby." Well, that's just not what he does. I mean, Justify, as good as he looked, he still had him run to an allowance race the next time out. So, yeah, John, we get it. I mean, yeah, the horse, he never should have been allowed because he failed a drug test that was kind of hidden at Sancina Derby that he shouldn't have been allowed in the Kentucky Derby. Of course, would have to change the history, right? That's why you can't take what he did. That's why there's definitely an asterisk there. But
I mean, he frames the question. It's a $64,000 question. I don't think there's a question, right? Like he failed a drug test and he shouldn't have been.
Doesn't. I mean, but in the world we live in, it is what it is. Like I'm not saying that the way he would probably get Tava to win the Preakness is legit, but I'm saying he could do it.
That's the thing. Like a lot of times people, no, I'm not talking about you, John, but like people in general get mad. Why you keep talking about these Baffords, hyping up these Baffords? Our job is to pick the fucking winners, and you have to live in that reality of what's happening. You know, I don't want to sit here and pick them, but it's like you have to live in the reality of the situation and what it is.
We live in Baffert's reality, guys. So, all right, let's get to today's show. We're going to preview and give picks for the 400K Tampa Bay Derby, a 2022 Kentucky Derby, a race that Bob Baffert cannot run in. Prep race at Tampa Bay Downs. And we're getting some rapid fire selections for the remaining graded stakes action on the Tampa Bay Derby undercard. Plus, we got a huge race at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. The Azeri Stakes, Grade 2 Azeri Stakes. She Dares the Devil, CC. Boy, we got a matchup here. This is going to be a hell of a race. Stay tuned for that. Let's go.
Mark, I've got ESPN in the background following the scores. I saw that. Congratulations to Wyoming. And they're in. I think they're in the tournament with this win.
It's that time of the year.
Oh, man, it has been fun already. And it's just Thursday of championship week. There's been some wild games. I think it gets you in, Mark. I really, if it doesn't, it's a shame. It's been fun. A lot of upsets. And right now, OU's ahead of Baylor. So maybe we can pull off a little miracle here. Doubt it.
All right. Let's go to Tampa. What do you say?
Do it. I heard at Tampa, it's going to be beautiful on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. You got a special weather report over there?
Yeah, it's going to be. It's so funny.
It probably will be.
It always is when people freak out about it, you know? So it doesn't look good, but, we'll see.
Last I saw, it was like 98% or 95%, 100%. It doesn't look promising.
No.
But it makes it dicey especially when you handicap these races on Thursday. You got to plan for it. So
I'm really glad we aren't doing a guide because, updating products and stuff, very easy. But updating that guide is tough because you got to rewrite a lot of stuff,
Especially with the turf, all the turf racing that's happening on the card there that you're going to have, are they going to keep it on the turf? Are they just going to keep a few on the turf? I don't know, but it's going to be a nightmare. So,
yeah, chance of rain 100%, windy with thunderstorms, especially in the morning, potential for severe thunderstorms. So,
sounds nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Art's saying by the time the race time gets there, the track will be drying out. I think that's possible. Maybe it'll stop raining in the morning or early.
Sometimes though, that's like the worst when it's like
worst.
after it's done rain, but now it's just like drying. So you get this like kind of mess of like kind of concrete drying. Yeah, it's not fun. So especially when you got some of these donkeys running in this Tampa Bay Derby. So
it's bad.
All right. Saturday at Tampa Bay Downs, we've got race 11, the Tampa Bay Derby Grade 2 worth $400K for 3-year-olds going to mile 16th. This is, like I said, race 11 on the program, and it is worth Kentucky Derby points 50, 20, 10, 5 for your top 4 finishers. And field 12 lines up for this one, an 8-5 favorite, no doubt about this one. Number 4, Classic Causeway, of course, Sam F. Davis winner, Classic Causeway. 8-5. He's head and shoulders on a class level, the standout here. But you've got some of the same ones coming back, but you also have horses like Major General coming in here at 9-2 for Todd Pletcher. Haven't seen him as a 3-year-old yet. Money Supply for Chad Brown, who looked really good as a debut winner at Tampa, but he's stretching out for the first time here. You've got some interesting kind of Shipsational, who made a huge run last time out against Classic Causeway. Giant Game, your favorite. The Talamo, the Romans angle. You love it. 10-1. So where are you going, man?
Yeah, it really does just seem like a lot of junk and Classic Causeway. I mean, it really does. This is just a situation. If the track is muddy or not in very good condition, if he doesn't handle it, he can get beat. But how's the other way, right? Like, I get Major General coming here for Pletcher. 2 for 2. Both wins. One was a Saratoga Maiden. One was the Iroquois. I get it, but really didn't beat anybody that great in either one of those races. First time out as a 3-year-old. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for him to beat a horse like Classic Causeway. I ended up landing second on Shipsational because 2 for 2 on a sloppy track. So if there is moisture in the track, the horse should move up. But, you take Shipsational. Okay, what's going to happen in this race that can have him turn the tables on Classic Causeway? Shipsational kind of comes from out of it. You're not going to get a hotter pace than you got last time, and you couldn't make up any ground on him. So Classic Causeway, the boring pick here. It does feel a little bit like Newgrange, where it's like when he went into the Rebel, where it's kind of like, well, there's just somebody that can beat him, so we're taking him. But kind of the same way as the Rebel, if Classic Causeway gets beat in the Tampa Bay Derby, it's likely not going to be a horse that I pick to beat him. It's likely going to be some kind of crazy long shot.
It's really bad too when you're comparing to. I was listening to the Magic Mike show earlier. Surprised. I mean, I'm on a roll here. I've listened to him a couple weeks in a row now, and they kind of made that same idea, same thought about Newgrange, and it's like it's pretty sad when you're comparing it to Classic Causeway and Newgrange, but it does feel a little bit like that race. Hopefully, he has a better result. But he just stands out from a class perspective, and I also think, I did the preview for this on our YouTube page for this race, and it's like, even if the race, he is versatile enough to where he can dictate how this race unfolds. If he wants to go quick like he did last time and kind of gate to wire this field, he can. If he wants to sit off of it a little bit, if someone tries to do it, he can. To me, with Shipsational, if you were going to beat Classic Causeway, it was last time. Like you said, kind of with that pace and, Classic Causeway coming off the layoff, that was the time to do it. To me, he could be even tighter here. It could be even stronger. To me, he's gonna have to not like the track. I think that's the only way he gets beat. Classic Causeway. He's gonna have to not like the track and just kind of spin his wheels a little bit. Speaking, that was not a segue into spin wheel, by the way. I don't like that horse at all. But no, we're not talking about spin wheel. But no, I do think he should win this race. Now, past that, whether you're looking for an upset winner, whether you're looking for an underneath horse to play with Classic Causeway, you like Shipsational a little bit. You said at 5-1, but how about someone higher, 10-1, higher? Who are you looking at here?
You hit it square in the head when you said 10-1. What about Chad Brown's horse, Money Supply? I think this horse is interesting. Has a win over the track. Looked pretty good. Won by 2 lengths. Jose Ortiz back aboard once again here. Money Supply ran on that on the big card there, the Sam F. Davis. So now back here in the Tampa Bay Derby. Let's try to take a little bit of a new shooter with Money Supply at 10-1. And then how about Happy Boy Rocket at 12-1? This horse won the maiden special weight on the Pegasus World Cup card. So those are kind of the two I'm looking at. Kind of those horses coming out of maidens and then coming back up into this, or coming up for the first time, I should say, into stakes company. Those are kind of my longer prices. I might play a 4 over 311 exacta, and then maybe wheel it back the other way as well, just to kind of create that value. Of course, Major General is going to get bet. Shipsational, the slop, and all this going to get bet. So trying to get some of these new guys in there is going to be what I'm going to try to do here with Classic Causeway, and maybe Happy Boy Rocket and Money Supply are the two that are ready.
Money Supply is definitely the kind of most interesting new shooter in this race, no doubt about it, because this horse just got a really big number. You kind of wonder how inflated that number may have been that day. That's a 91 buyer he got, but still, it was very impressive. The horse kind of broke poorly on debut. This is only a maiden special weight winner in February at Tampa. That's it. One race, and then now he's stretching out from six furlongs to mile 16th Tampa Bay Derby. To me, he's an underneath kind of horse. To me, it seemed like it would be a lot of. He'd have to be really, really good to win. Just he's a practical joke. So that's obviously we don't know how he's going to stretch out. He's going 6 furlongs to mile 16th. He drew post 11. He's got the no experience factor. Like, to me, there's a lot of things against him. Now, I do think he is interesting. I will be playing him underneath. How about, you didn't mention this horse. What about Strike Hard? That's one that I'm going to be playing underneath as well, because this is a horse who finished 4th last time out to Classic Causeway in the Sam F. Davis. But you look back, I mean, this horse really has never ran a poor race other than the Iroquois. He got beat by White Barrio. He got beat by Simplification, get second in both those efforts. He beat AP Secret, Skippy Longstocking in an allowance race at Gulfstream Park. He kind of is, it's not like he's been running in terrible races. And I do think that he will like the track if it is somewhat of a kind of a sloppy mess or any kind of meltdown. Like, to me, he's a horse that will give some sort of a run. So I don't necessarily think he can win the race, but it's super interesting, right, that Luis Saez jumped aboard this horse.
I'm not against the horse. I think when it comes to underneath, you can really get you can go a lot of different ways. And this horse does have experience. And that's the one thing, if you're going to take one that's ran a lot and ran against good horses and, for lack of a better, phrase, won't be intimidated by the competition here. He's faced better. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Classic Causeway is kind of in the discussion as some of those other ones he's faced, but he's faced similar, we should say. So anyway, I get it. I think he could play a factor. The thing is, I don't think he can win it. No. But yeah, hitting the board, I think certainly is possible with this horse. I mean, he's ran against some good ones, but he hasn't been close to beating some of those good ones either.
He kind of showed it, right, last time, where I feel like he maybe didn't get the best of trips, but he still made a run. And I think that's what he does, right? And I think that's why I like him underneath, because this thing definitely has some speed signed up for it. Major General is going to be forwardly placed as well. So you definitely think that the race will at least set up for him. Now we'll see how good he is. I don't think he's good enough to win, but I think if you key him in the second, third spots or whatever you do, he's 8-1. I'm going to guess he's not going to get a ton of play, right? Let's talk about the 5 Giant Game. Now I know, I get it, but this is a horse who everyone talks about because it's Dale Romans, and he won his maiden special weight, went straight to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, finished 3rd, he ran well, was drafted in the fantasy league. He was awful in the Holy Bull. I think he just finished the Holy Bull, so now he's in here. I mean, come on, like, why do people like this horse?
I don't know. I'm not. I can't get by him. And, you said something that is another huge strike, in my opinion. Luis Saez rode this horse last time out. He jumps to strike hard. And now
Right.
Talamo's back aboard Giant Game. It's just like, look, if this horse wins, I lose. And that's all there's to it. Romans might get one of these horses to the Derby, get lucky. But I've never been a fan of this horse. If he wins, I lose. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I don't get the obsession with this. I don't get the obsession with Rattle and Roll for McPeak either. I don't know. You'll have to explain that one to me. I don't know.
I mean, it's not like the juvenile is coming back super strong.
He's in a better spot than the Fountain of Youth would have been, for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah.
But
I don't know. I mean, Giants Causeway, maybe he likes to slop, and
I don't know.
Maybe he runs well. I don't know. Like, it's not like it would be so Del Romans, right, to win or run really well with a horse like this. But for him to upset Classic Causeway just seems highly unlikely.
I mean, we say that a lot. It's like Roman, this is the race he wins. And, though, they really don't win them very often. Yeah. And when they do, you're never going to have them. I mean, I don't know. He's not for me. If you guys want to play him, go for it. He's not for me.
No, I like Happy Boy Rocket as well a little bit. Halterman, I'd play him underneath. I think there's plenty of options here to make money with Classic Causeway, whether it be Happy Boy Rocket, whether it be Strike Hard, whether it be Shipsational, if you want to go there, Money Supply, horses that could come running underneath. Spinwell, even if you hate this horse, he does make a late run. Maybe he likes the slop and he bangs up there for second or third. You never know. But I think the key here that you and I are both on is that we're kind of taking stands. We might be using, I'm not going to speak for you. I'm going to use him in my multis, but I'm kind of taking a stand against Major General in an overall sense.
Yeah, I'm not using him at all. Yeah, I'm going to go against him. I'm going to use that Shipsational because of the track, and then Money Supply, Happy Boy Rocket are the other ones. I'm going to take a stance against Major General here. Definitely could win, but I just going to be over bet, and I think he needs a race off this. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of his as a 2-year-old. He could beat me, but it's going to take a really good race from him.
I mean, that's what the interesting thing about him, though, I will say is, it's tough to go from maiden special weight to the Iroquois and win. I mean, it is. So that was what?
This comment. Mark says Giant Game works 5 furlongs in 59 seconds, which is ironically the same amount of time it takes Romans to zip through the buffet at Golden Corral. Go ahead.
Very true. Very true. This is like this is what happens every time. I'm like talking about a point, and Halterman's dying laughing about a comment, and then I read the comment and I'm like, shit, I can't. Whatever I say cannot be taken seriously moving forward. So, bottom line, Classic Causeway, we're both picking him to win here. Let's see, 2.5. 2.5. What's the over under on horses that are going to run in the Kentucky Derby out of this race?
Under. I definitely think it's under. I don't know. This field, it leaves a lot to be desired. If Classic Causeway loses this race, to me, it's a major upset. And he should, unless something terrible happens with his trip, if he loses this one, he should drop out of your top whatever, right? Because he should win this race.
Yeah, this is like one of those races for him that it doesn't feel like a lot can, he only has, he can only lose value in this race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if he goes and wins this race, you say, well, yeah, kind of what I thought he would do. And he's still right there on the cusp of being the top horse in the crop. And if he goes and loses, you're like, well, that was a fluke. The same if Davis was a fluky race. And he's got to go out and take care of business for sure. It's hard to see another one coming out of this. And history has shown us that that's not necessarily going to happen either.
And even if the track comes up sloppy, it's no excuse. He has no excuse. That's my take. you know, if you're a good horse, you could run it over the slop. So he has no excuse in this race. He has to win it.
All right. We're both on number 4. Classic Causeway to win the Tampa Bay Derby. All right. Let's go. Let's do some rapid fire here.
These races are good, better than I thought they would be this week.
So race 5, guys, on the undercard of the Tampa Bay Derby is Command Performance. He's 3-5 morning line. You don't see 3-5 very often. He's going to be probably the most singled horse. And it's not even necessarily because he's good, because he's in a main special weight. We're talking about if he can make the Kentucky Derby. It's March, but this field leaves a lot to be desired.
If he loses, it's one of the biggest upsets of the whole year. This field he's got is horrifically bad.
All of them are first-time starters except for one, and it's like has ran like 12 times. I mean, it's off. They're awful.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the. I mean, the second choice on the morning line is 6-1.
Yeah, and it is a ragtag, Tampa Bay type trainers and jockeys.
It's not like you see Chad Brown has one in there, or Fletcher's got 2, and it might be no.
Well, and you usually see that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they are like, we need just a race to get him conditioned or whatever to get to the next race. That's it. And there's no way he should lose. I read Fletcher 3-5, getting Lasix, getting blinkers as well. So a couple different additions there. We'll see. So that's race 5. Seems like a single. Everyone's going to be singling that one. So I guess if you want to play against, you'll be the only one. So
he's going to have to fall down to lose. Also, one other one to kind of keep an eye on. It may be too late in the game for the Derby. We'll see. But We the People horse that was really impressive on debut at Oaklawn is back for an allowance race on Saturday. Race 4 at Oaklawn. So, couple horses there.
Is that the horse you claimed?
Yeah. Couple of horses there that. I don't think they're Derby winners per se, but keep an eye on them, see how they run. I think they could be in preps next time out.
So there's even money. We the People, of course. Barros is in there. Should dominate that race.
He can't. He cannot lose. If he loses, then you put a big red X through him. Like, this race is terrible.
They like the horse, at least what we've been told. So we'll see. You never know. Halsman swore off anything anybody ever says anymore.
Yeah, I don't
care. but he should win. And I agree. He's maybe a little bit behind in terms of, I don't know. The horse could go from that to the Arkansas Derby. No, not the Arkansas Derby. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
I think like the Lexington would make sense for this horse if he won here. Maybe.
When is the Arkansas Derby? The 9th?
The 2nd, April 2nd.
Yeah, they moved it. I forgot. Yeah. Yeah. 3 weeks would be kind of tough, but
yeah. We'll see. But he's one to watch. Maybe they can get him to the Preakness, something like that. But he got to win. It's kind of same as Command Performance. You got to go win. That's step one. You got to win Saturday.
Well, yeah, we're especially for these horses. Like we talked about Taba earlier. We talked about Command Performance. We've talked about now. These are the kind of horses that maybe they've had some sort of hype, but you have 0 points. You've ran in 0 stakes, and it's March. Now it's not the time to be like, oh, you're in pretty good. No, you gotta run big. You gotta be very impressive if you want to throw your name in the Derby mix in March, and you haven't ran the stakes yet. You just do.
Yep.
John, Classic Causeway is 16 points. You're right. He does not have to win to make the Derby. He really just needs to really get third here, and he would have enough. With the scale there with 50, 20, 10, 5. 10 points, third place. He's got 26. it's probably going to be enough this year to get in, especially hits the, if he gets second, 20 points, he's locked in there. So a win definitely secures him, no doubt. But even a second place or a third even could secure him. So
he needs to win, though. I mean,
but to take him seriously, he needs to win.
Yeah.
Thoughts on race 6 at Tampa? I don't know. We're not talking about race 6, are we?
Race 6, no, that's a maiden special weight with a bunch of first timers. Who, by the way, there's a Brown, there's a Pletcher, there's a Clement. Yeah. So that's kind of what you see on these big days. Irad's in that, and Luis.
But then you got 8 horses here.
Correct. Yeah. And like I said, one first timer, it's for a Tampa guy. And so you could see the difference.
All right. Let's do some rapid fire. We're going to do the stakes, 3 stakes, or greatest stakes at Tampa. Race 7, the Hillsborough. Race 8, the Challenger. Race 9, the Florida Oaks. Then we're going to go to Oaklawn Park and do the Azeri. That's a good one. So
let's do it.
All right. All right, time for rapid fire. We're going to do some stakes action, greatest stakes action on the undercard of the Tampa Bay Derby at Tampa Bay. Of course, then we'll go over to Oaklawn Park for their big one there. The Azeri, we got a huge matchup going down there. We'll go there next. We'll start with Tampa Bay. Race 7, Hillsborough Stakes, grade 2, $225K. Fillies and Mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Field of 9 shows up here, Halterman. Bleecker Street for Chad Brown has done nothing wrong at 2-1. 5-2 on Lady Spice Spear at 5-2. 9-2 Rocky Sky, another Chad Brown there. 6-1 on Runaway Rumor. Let's talk by the favorite, Bleecker Street. This horse has been very good. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I couldn't go against Bleecker Street. Winning 4 in a row, 2 of them come at Tampa. I just think she's going to be tough in the spot. I do like Lady Spice Spear a little bit. Thought about giving that horse another try, but Bleecker Street beat that horse fairly easily, so I kind of jumped off her. I think Chad's biggest competition is Chad. What about Rocky Sky, the 6 horse, coming off a long layoff, one race in the United States? It came in the Saratoga Oaks. She was not good in that race, but here she is back. Irad gets aboard, so I think maybe Rocky Sky could have a say in things. But on top, though, I went with the proven horse, 4 wins in a row. I went number 5, Bleecker Street.
Yeah, it's hard not to like that horse. Done nothing wrong, literally. And one thing to note, we didn't really mention it completely, but the rain situation Saturday at Tampa it's all we've talked about. It's all people have talked about. It sounds like it's not a question of if, it's not a question of how much and when. Sounds like the track is going to be a mess Saturday, so just make sure you stay tuned for that. So the chances are you're going to be looking at a sloppy track for the dirt. You're going to be talking about turf racing if it's going to stay on the turf. It's going to be yielding. It's going to be soft, definitely, depending on when so just keep that in mind as you're handicapping these races, especially take another look at these on Saturday as well before you put your bets in, because you just don't know how this track is going to play. But I may regret it, but I'm going against Chad here, and I went with the 7 Runaway Rumor at 6-1. This is a horse that's going to be making her 4-year-old debut here, and ran kind of some big races last year, and was also just kind of not quite good enough in those. She ran the Lake George at Saratoga, finished 4th, beaten 2 3/4. She ran Lake Placid, finished 2nd. Both times lost to technical analysis. In the Pebbles at Belmont, she finished 3rd. She got 2nd by a neck in the Sands Point at Belmont at this distance. That was probably her best effort that day, ran a 91 by her. So to me, this distance, now we get Jose Ortiz to ride, which I think is a huge upgrade. No offense to Jose Lozano, but Jose Ortiz to ride here. And this horse making the debut for a Flintshire type, the sires of Flintshire there, Elusive Rumor is the dam. I think this horse is going to be able to kind of sit off the pace and kind of give you a late run at a distance that maybe she likes the best. So I kind of like Runaway Rumor here at a little bit of a mild upset to kick things off here on Rapid Fire. I'm going prize hunting pretty much the whole day, so hopefully this doesn't backfire. Let's go to the next one here, race 8. I don't have a Michelob Ultra handy. The 100K Michelob Ultra Challenger Stakes, grade 3. I know, shocking. Worth the 100K 4-year-olds and up. going 1 and 1/16 miles, field of 10, lined up for this one. Dude, I texted you the first thing I saw this the other day or this morning. Greatest Honor, 3-1, makes a return. Last seen last year, wasn't in the Florida Derby? Florida Derby, I believe it was.
Yep.
Greatest Honor. Dynamic One, another kind of another favorite there. Dynamic One, I haven't seen that horse. It's a Travers. This horse won the Curlin, if you had forgot. Was in the Kentucky Derby last year. It was 18th, so not quite in the Kentucky Derby, but I guess technically was. Dynamic One, Greatest Honor. These, to me, these seem like the perfect kind of name horses who are going to take money, who you could try to play against and get a price home. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Greatest Honor does. This was a really nice horse developing into a pretty good horse. Got third in the Florida Derby, and that was it for him. But, I think he'll come back and run well. Dynamic One, I have no interest in. But, and listen, Samich likes him. Magic likes him. Looks like Mark likes him. I like number 9, Cody's Wish. I guess 8-1's a pipe dream. It sounds like this horse is going to take a lot of money, but I like him. He's won 3 in a row. All came at Churchill Downs, all against pretty decent horses, and he just looked really, really nice in all those wins. Time for Stakes Company. Bill Mott's been hot lately in these types of races. I think Cody's Wish is going to be awfully tough here. I like him. So I'll take a shot with him, but, I'm realizing with each passing second that 8-1 is not going to happen.
Yeah, it seems like you're going to get more in the 4-1 or so. That ballpark, and get that cut in half, which, still not awful. But I do think I like Cody's Wish. I'll be using Cody's Wish. The reason why you like Cody's Wish is probably one of the reasons I like my horse is it just feels like the horse is running underneath or just going to be kind of clunking up there. I don't necessarily believe in until I see otherwise with like the likes of Warstopper, who was the favorite last time out, did not run well off that long layoff. Maybe he can be better. I think that's a horse that's interesting to use for Todd Pletcher. I'd rather use Warstopper than Dynamic One. I can tell you that. Greatest Honor, still both Greatest Honor, Dynamic One. Maybe they can clung up there, how about the one Wolfie's Donagos? To me, this is a very interesting spot. They decided to run him in. Of course, more of a turf horse. Ran last time at a big price and won on a synthetic at Gulfstream Park. And now you show up here in a dirt race, a grade 3 dirt race, which is interesting. But you got to say this. The horse likes this distance. This is right in the wheelhouse. The horse shows plenty of speed in the past, draws the rail, gets Paco Lopez, Mr. Clean, Paco Lopez, to ride. and you got to think they're going to go. They're going to send with this horse. This horse can fly late or fly early, and I'm hoping that the track is what I think it's going to be, which is sloppy. The horse does have a win on a sloppy track. I think that because it's like, well, it's weird. Like, he's a dirt horse, or he's not a dirt horse. He's running on the dirt. Well, it's like he's not really going to get dirt here. It's going to be like slop, and we know turf horses can run well on slop. So to me, if you can get anywhere in that ballpark at 10-1, he's got a huge, huge amount of upside.
It's a weird spot for him, but he does have the upside. So I think at the price, he's interesting.
I think if you're sitting there telling me like I'm gonna need a pro, like if he gets bet down for some reason to like 3-1, maybe not 3-1, but 4-1, 5, I'm gonna need more, Yeah. So if you, to me as a price, like that's where I think, because I think these horses like the 3 Greatest Honor, the 4 Dynamic One, they are going to be overbet because of their names and, running the Kentucky Derby and, of course, winning the Fountain of Youth and the Holy Bull like Greatest Honor did last year. And, of course, kind of was one of the top horses. At this time last year, Greatest Honor was one of the top horses in the crop, right? I mean, he was it. So, he's got the hype. They all, quote-unquote hype. People are going to bet these horses come on the return. So to me, I think there's options here to take prices, and hopefully you still get one. I like the 9-2. I'll be using the 9. Your horse there, Cody's Wish, in everything as well. All right, let's go to the final one on the undercard, Greatest Stakes undercard at Tampa, race 9, the Florida Oaks, grade 3, $200K for fillies, 3-year-olds going 1 and 1/16 miles on the turf. Field of 9. For this one, Halterman. And, it's interesting because you've got couple Chad Browns. One of them's a first-time starter for him, international, that whole angle. Another one with Spicer, and neither one of them are a favorite. So tell me, are we getting a bad morning line here, or is it a sign that you're saying like maybe they're not as good as you kind of thought they would be?
I don't know the answer to that one, to be honest. I kind of think this Dulce Zell horse, she kind of has a look of one that might be pretty good. So I think we're going to be on the same horse. I think you like this one as well. There isn't a ton to talk about. You're just banking on the fact that it's Chad Brown, first time United States. These horses usually run well. So yeah, I think Dulce Zell is going to be interesting. His other horse, Spicer, I think is going to take money too. To me, I was down to between those two, the 3 and the 6 for Chad. I'm going to play both of them. You got the horse, the number 9 horse there, who's coming off a second place effort at Gulfstream in a stakes. Maybe, that's just enough for this horse to be the favorite and to take the money here. But I'll stick with Chad Brown. I like the 3 and I like the 6 in this spot.
I mean, there's just way too much to like about, in my opinion, with this 3. Not to mention the fact that he does hit at 35% first time with these kind of horses. First with trainer, he's 30%. With Lasix, first Lasix, he's 28%. So he's basically hitting about 30% on all the categories with this kind of horse. That is Chad Brown. You get Irad Ortiz. Of course, they team up, and they're very dangerous as well. Debut this horse overseas wasn't great. Then the next time out was very, very impressive, I thought, and went back and watched that race. And, of course, stretching out a little bit. To me, this horse kind of looks like that. I mean, I wouldn't say quite call her a superstar yet, but she definitely has the looks of a horse that, like, he can make into a pretty good horse over here. And let's not forget, if it is a softer yielding turf course, chances are that she'll like that as well. So I like the 3 a lot here as well.
Yep.
All right, let's go to I almost did this one first. I don't want that because I think it might be. It's a very good race, I think.
I think it's the race of the weekend.
I do too. All right, let's go to Oaklawn Park, race 9, the Azeri Stakes, grade 2 Azeri, $350K for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 1/16 miles. And you and I both agree. This is the race of the weekend. I think deservedly so. Field of 9 shows up here, but gosh, I mean, She Dares the Devil at 5-2, CC at 3-1, Pauline's Pearl, who's kind of coming into her own as of late. Rosario Aspiston, Rosario's back, a 7-2. So you've got Pauline's Pearl, CC, She Dares the Devil, and then let's throw in the 6 for Peter Urton, the Lady Mystify, who's been pretty good as well. So this is a salty little field. She Dares the Devil making her first race back since a poor effort in the Breeders' Cup. Brad thinks she's fine. Says she's been training great. Didn't miss any training. She's good. Do you have confidence in her here?
I don't really have confidence in anybody in this race because A, there's all kinds of horses in here that can win. It's pretty evenly matched. And B, all of them kind of have their question marks. And, I did pick number 7, She Dares the Devil, to win. But here's what's I just find hysterical. Last year, I picked She Dares the Devil to win, and I was very confident she was going to win this race. I mean, very confident. And she won. But she was up against a horse by the name of Latruska. And I was dumb enough to pick She Dares the Devil, number 1. Get lucky enough to win the race, number 2, and then have the arrogance to think, oh, I knew what I was doing, number 3. We all saw how that turned out, right? So this year I come into it and I'm going to pick She Dares the Devil again. There's no Latruska here, but I'm sitting here not as confident at all, right? Because She Dares the Devil, we kind of learned she's okay. She's not great, but she's good. She's very solid. There's a lot of horses in here that could beat her. You talked about like CC won the Apple Blossom a couple of years ago. It, yes, has to stretch out again in distance, but does have a win at this track and at this distance. Pauline's Pearl coming off the Houston Ladies Classic win. Super quick for Norm Cassie coming off 3 straight wins. He ships this horse from Fairgrounds where she's been training to Oaklawn. Tough spot, Norm, to ship a horse to Oaklawn in and face She Dares the Devil, CC, and Pauline's Pearl. But she's got a shot. She's not a bad horse. So anyway, long story short, I'm picking She Dares the Devil. Not a ton of confidence. I think this is going to be a really good race.
Yeah, I think the key here for me is She Dares the Devil is may not necessarily has to be on the lead, but she definitely likes to be on it or very, very close. You got a horse like Lady Mystify who's going to be very close, or if not on the lead. For Peter, super quick. That seems like the horse's best shot for Norm is to get to the lead. Golden Curl likes to be forwardly placed. I just think there's plenty of speed in here, and honestly, I kind of wanted to pick Pauline's Pearl. I just don't know. This is definitely, that's more of your level in terms of the horse. Like, you follow a lot of the smaller circuits. Like, she kind of feels like a horse that is going to be very good at, winning the Houston Ladies Classic and, running the Remington Park Oaks. Although she lost to Lady Mystify, she was right there with her. Those are the kind of races. This is a little tougher for her. So to me, this is a big test. That's why, even though maybe the distance is a question, although like you said, she has won at this distance. She won the Apple Blossom here as well, right? I just think CC is the classiest of the bunch. And not just that. I think she's coming into the race as the classiest horse as well. Like, there's a difference there, and I think she's both. Back-to-back triple-digit buyers. The end of the year of the triple-digit in the Breeders' Cup, of course, she won a sprint, the 7-furlong sprint, and then she bounces off of that and gets beat by Merneath, but runs a 101 buyer that day earlier, I guess I should say last month, in the Santa Monica. So, yes, stretching out, but I don't know why he's bringing her here if he doesn't think she can. And McCarthy is a great trainer, and he obviously won this race, or won the Apple Blossom, so he's been here before, knows how to do it. To me, she's not coming in here to lose.
He's a great trainer, and he's a good shipper. When this horse is shipped, they usually run well, if not win. So I'm with you. Very dangerous. And I remember that Apple Blossom. That was during the pandemic, and it was a really good field, and she came over here and won, and it was just a really nice effort. So I'm with you. I think this horse is going to run well. It's just going to be a matter of, sometimes She Dares the Devil here at Oaklawn just kind of shows up with a bigger effort, than normal.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing here is that for me at the 5 is I think she's coming in the race really well. I think she's the classiest of the bunch, and I think she's going to sit a good trip. Like I said, with all that speed, she is a horse that kind of comes off, and it's going to be a matter of if she could probably catch, most likely, right? The 7, She Dares the Devil. I think if she can, this is the race to do it. So I'm on number 5, CC, but this is a race, you guys, you're going to want to watch. This race goes off at 6:10 Eastern time. So you're going to want to make sure you watch these. All the action will be at Tampa Bay. Make sure you tune in for this one, because this obviously is going to be kind of a preview for the Apple Blossom as well. And not just to the Apple Blossom, but some of these horses might face Latruska next time in the Apple Blossom. We'll see. That sounds like where she's going to go as well. So the Azeri, I'm on number 5, CC. You got number 7, She Dares the Devil.
Yeah, no matter what happens there, root for, one of the better horses to win it, so you get that Latruska matchup. If you remember the Apple Blossom last year, it's one race that a lot of people don't talk about, kind of forgot about it. Latruska, Monomoy Girl, an incredible stretch run. I mean, that was a great Apple Blossom last year. So keep an eye on this for sure.
I mean, they said from after that last effort, Latruska probably going to go the Apple Blossom. It's a huge purse, and we've seen over time that some of the best older females run that race. So, you're going to see. Hopefully, you're going to see She Dares the Devil in there versus Latruska and CC and all those horses in there. So it'll be a hell of a race.
Yep, no doubt.
Mark says the last at Oaklawn on Saturday looks like the Command Performance's main special weight at Tampa. I'm afraid to look now.
It's all Archiebreds, I think. I know. Let's see, that's Fridays is the Archibred.
If Garhole ain't running in it, I'm not interested. So.
Oh, the Saturdays, the Arkansas. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I knew they were Archibreds. They're the Arkansas bred maiden claimers. Yeah, it's not gonna be good.
Boy, that's rough.
Yeah,
it's safe to say I'll be tuning out after the Azeri.
Probably smart.
So you just let me know who wins that one.
There's some really nice races on this card, but there's some. they're either good or they're super bad at Oaklawn Saturday. Like, you got a couple of nice allowance. This area is obviously great. You have a claimer that's like, yeah, it's a claiming race, but they're pretty decent. And then there are some bad maiden claiming races on there. Exactly. Garhole, horse of the year.
Hey, they're going to run this horse in the Count Fleet. So let's do it. Open company.
Good thing Whitmore's not around anymore. He'd embarrass Whitmore. Can't say that with a straight face.
Well, Garhole, best horse in training, no doubt.
He might be the best Arkansas bred of all time.
Garhole would probably beat Giant Game. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that race, right? Giant Game versus Garhole.
I would bet Garhole tremendously against Giant Game, going 6 furlongs.
Giant Game would be when Garhole, even if they ran a mile, say at Oaklawn, when Garhole hit the final turn, Giant Game would just be getting out of the first turn. Like it would just be, he would be so far back he couldn't catch up.
Correct.
Garhole could moonwalk home.
Correct.
And Giant Game would still be lugging out back there in the back. Dill Romans would have time to go to the Golden Corral, get his food, come back and watch Giant Game finish the race. So that was for you, Mark. So oh boy. All right. That's all the time we have. Check us out at racydudes.com for our free picks. Of course, our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racy Dudes premium button at the menu at racydudes.com to learn more. Remember, we are your destination site for all free horse racing picks and information. We cover all the tracks all across the country. We just did a new update on the site, so make sure you check that out. You got just complete. We want to give you guys more details, more information that we can. So all the analysis to what's going on the site in terms of what tracks we're hot at. You can go to each individual track. So you go to Oaklawn, it'll tell you what our exactas, how many exactas we've been hitting, what for how much, what the payouts have been on our premium picks, all that kind of stuff. To see what tracks we're really doing well at. All that's out available. Of course, we have a kind of an overall view as well on our results page. So kind of give you guys more data in terms of how our picks are doing. So if you want that, go to racydudes.com to learn more. We're on Twitter at racy_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off on our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much all the podcast channels that you listen to podcasts. Remember, go to our YouTube page as well to get all the live streams for this. Of course, are we doing a live stream this weekend for the Tampa Bay?
I don't know that we're doing one this weekend, are we?
I don't know.
I think we're doing like reaction.
Taking a break?
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, we could do a reaction video, but
yeah, we definitely.
Shit's about to get, because what do we got here? Let's look at the schedule here.
Well, next week is going to kind of be quiet because the Rebel, they moved the date, and so we have nothing. But then you got 3 weeks, really 4 weeks of just nonstop action.
Yeah, the next weekend after that, March 26th, you got the Louisiana Derby, the UAE Derby, and then the next day, the Sunland Derby. Then the next weekend, April 2nd, you've got the Florida Derby, the Arkansas Derby, and the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And then the next weekend, of course, the last major weekend anyways, April 9th, the Wood, the Bluegrass, the Santina Derby, obviously massive. And then Lexington is the weekend after that, April 16th. So, yeah, it's kind of massive these next we're basically a month out really of March 10th now, April 9th being the final Santina Derby of at least the final 100-point race. You've got a month left to figure this shit out, Alterman.
I mean, I've got it figured out. Just let the horse in, Churchill Downs, and it's over.
Oh, Art, thank you, buddy. Art says he enjoys the hell out of our channel.
Thanks.
That's
Art. Nice.
Really, I appreciate it. We've been ramping up the content lately. Obviously, it's a great time to do that with all the Derby stuff, but we're not going anywhere in terms of we try to make everything video now. Because Halterman, the reading, he doesn't read well and just he struggles with it. So we thought, let's just make videos, be easier for him. And so that's what we've done. Let's see. Halterman, this weekend's a big weekend for the college basketball, right? final weekend of all the conference championships going on, and then of course tournaments, and then now we get into what is Sunday? Is Sunday the drawing day?
Yeah, they'll draw Sunday. We'll have the Dudes Who Bet Sports Show will be back Sunday right after they draw to analyze, who's in, who's out, all that kind of stuff. So that'll be a fun show. And then we will do a show a day early on Wednesday, giving you the game by game picks for Papa Dude and I for the bracket. So a lot going on over there. Yeah, we talked a lot about basketball today on the show, and yeah, it's crazy. Conference tournaments going on right now, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, sports, it's very, very busy right now, and that's how we like it. So, but yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah, at least like Mark said, it is nice if you're going to have a consolation prize here to not have a Derby prep you have Tampa Bay, but then the next weekend we'll have March Madness going on. So
yep.
Can kind of keep us busy with that. Of course, racingdudes.com/sports to get all your analysis of March Madness. We'll have that on Dudes Who Bet Sports if you want to watch the podcast that Halterman's talking about, Dudes Who Bet Sports. Go find the podcast for that as well. Magic Mike Show. If you haven't watched them, they were on earlier. Go check them out. They did the late pick 4 at Tampa Bay on Saturday. So you want their analysis, of course, of the Tampa Bay Derby and that complete late pick 4 sequence. Make sure to go search for the Magic Mike Show to find their picks. As I watched like 90% of it, which is shocking. It was pretty good. So,
wow.
I know.
I didn't watch it today. Maybe tomorrow.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening to us. I'm watching more of the Magic Mike, and I don't know.
It's weird.
Apparently, I need a life. I guess the big of that.
Mark's comment of SWAC final live stream with Papa Dude. The reason why he said that on the Dudes Who Bet Sports Show, Papa Dude, he was previewing we previewed the MEAC, we previewed the Big Sky, all these random tournaments. And he posted them all on the website. And so I was just scrolling down and I'm like, Dad, when do these end? He was like, oh, keep on going. Oh, there's the MEAC. I like Southern in this one, and I'm like, Jesus. So yeah, that was what the joke is about there. This
dude's gonna be like Rain Man filling out his bracket on Sunday.
It was nuts too because he wouldn't miss a beat. He would be like, yeah, the SWAC, I like so and so. They beat so and so the other day, and I'm like, I've never even heard these teams we're talking about. He got to the Ivy League. He was talking about the Ivy League. It was wild.
Yeah, Mark says he was talking about a conference I've never heard of.
Yeah, it was wild. It was so funny.
I can't wait. No matter what, good or bad, it's gonna be solid content on the site to see how his bracket does. Because if he's killing it, it's like, dude, you're like Rain Man right now. You know all this stuff. And then if he's not, and he's been studying all this for months and months, and then his bracket goes to shit the week 1. That's gonna be good content too.
He is a jewel on Twitter. There's you just never know what he's gonna say on there. So yeah, during that, it's gonna be crazy to see. He was arguing with a bunch of OU people last night. It was hilarious. He's like old man, so I know what he's talking about when he says things, but sometimes he says things and they don't really make sense in Twitter language, and he doesn't get it, and then they don't get what he's saying, and then he doesn't understand what they're saying, and it's a shit show on there.
And you just sit back and watch.
I know, and I don't correct him or even chime in. I'm just like, oh, this is too good. So just leave him alone.
You never know. I'll see one pop up like, oh, Papa Dude, that's interesting comment, but it's always about something random. I gotta give him credit. The dude. He's going in it full on.
Yeah. I think he's addicted to it. Every time I talk to him, he's like, well, every time I talk to him, he goes, did you see that idiot on Twitter last night? I'm like, oh God, this is bad.
Yeah. Well, the problem is he's still new to the Twitter game, whereas we just I'm like, I didn't see it because I block it. I mean, I don't even look at people's comments on Twitter anymore. But every comment he's eating up, so you're like, no, Dad, I didn't. And by the way, if people don't realize, Papa Dude is this guy's dude, is this his dad. So that's what makes it even more enjoyable. It's like the same kind. If any of you are around our age, mid to upper 30s, I won't tell you who's older, but it's Halterman. And you have a dad that's in a similar category there. We all know that conversation's like. And just imagine releasing that onto the Twitter world for the first time. It's like watching your newborn make his first steps walking. You know, it's just like you don't know what's really going to happen, but you got to watch. But it's solid content. It's nothing else about it.
It's funny. Sylvian says we create a monster. It's Sylvian's fault. He kept saying, Papa Dude, are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter? And finally he made one. So it's your fault.
Yeah, you should take credit for it or be blamed for it, whichever way you want to look at that.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like I said, he's having fun with it. And the thing about it, like you said, all he does is sit there and watch basketball all night. So he knows what he's talking about. Now, you know, March Madness shit, whether you get him right or not, that's a lot of luck. But, you know, when those shitty teams or maybe not shitty teams, just teams you haven't heard of, he's seen them play. I can guarantee you that. So he'll be valuable in the next couple of weeks.
Well, especially for those little games that, like, you may seem like, you know, on paper that but it's like if you've watched them play, you know they're not very good. And he'll be able to be like, no, I watched them 13 times this year. They're not very good. So
he texted me just a minute ago and he goes, can you believe Southern lost to Grambling or something like that? I'm like, I didn't know they were playing. So
Southern.
Yeah, there's Southern. It's like a school down in, I don't know, they're in the SWAC or the MEAC or the something. Big Sky, Big West.
The Giant Game Conference. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, it's something. I don't know.
All right, on that note.
Did you know that the Ivy League doesn't do a full tournament? Just the top 4 teams from the league play in a tournament. I didn't know that till today.
Did Papa Dude teach you that?
Yeah. We got to the Ivy League, and I said, why do you only have 4 schools up here? He goes, oh, well, in the Ivy League, sports aren't important. So if you don't finish in the top 4 of the league, they don't even let you in the tournament. Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, now you know. This is a channel about learning, guys, and now you know.
Right.
Now you know. I didn't know that, so thank you. Thank you, Papa Dude. So there you go. If you guys want tons of that content, just make sure you go to racingdudes.com or go to our YouTube page. Just search for Racing Dudes in the search and to subscribe. Hit the notification button. That way you get alerted to all Papa Dude's random crazy-ass comments and content as we head into March Madness. Of course, all the horse racing Kentucky Derby content as well. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,